All right, hello. You heard it. Sports Porters, we have indeed reassembled. Andrew Hammond, shades on in the club, is here.
You know why.
We were about to learn something was about to be a why there, Bob. I don't know what happened. Andrew just got taken away in the vortex.
He froze mid-why. Wow. Elon Musk, give us Andrew back. We want to hear what he has to say.
He's lost in the vortex. Oh, there he is. He's back.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So.
Hey, Andrew.
Hey.
How are you? What were you about to say? What was the why there?
I was like, you guys know why I had the shades on. We won't talk about it, but you guys know why.
I don't know why.
No, it's Michigan. It's Michigan State week.
That's why you have to wear sunglasses. Sure.
Well, no, that's.
Hold on. It is not Michigan State week.
Yes, it is.
No, it is.
It's Tennessee Kentucky week.
Yes.
It's the. Oh yeah, I forgot that's a rivalry in the SEC.
First time these two teams have been ranked at the same time when playing each other since like 1951.
I know. Yeah. Are you nervous that Tennessee could wreck, or Kentucky could wreck Tennessee season? They're good enough to do it. You aren't nervous at all?
No, I think it's going to be a lot like the LSU game. I think Tennessee wins by 3 scores.
Man, I don't know. This could be and I'll keep it brief so Bob, but this could be a game where Will Levis kind of tricks a few GMs into taking him in the first few rounds.
I don't think so.
He's projected to go in the first round in at least one mock I've read.
Look at Bob getting after it.
Well, hold on. Bob loves the draft. I don't know if you remember.
I do.
I love the draft. I have not gotten into draft mode yet. I merely, as a light aperitif, sampled a mock that came across my timeline, and I said, "Oh, who's that quarterback? Will Levis. Okay, that seems like a guy."
He dunks his bananas or something in mayonnaise and coffee. What is this thing? Andrew, you got muted.
What?
Andrew knows, but he's muted. There he is.
Yeah,
nope.
So he puts mayonnaise in his coffee to substitute as a creamer. So allegedly his girlfriend told him, "Oh yeah, I just use mayonnaise as a creamer." And he's like, "Oh," and apparently because love makes you do crazy things, he's like, "Oh, it's not a problem." And then he also eats bananas with the peel on.
Those are 2 huge red flags. He's off my draft board.
I get it down. There's no way I could get down a banana, just bite into a banana with the skin.
I tried butter coffee. That's a thing that was making the rounds for a while, is people using butter as a butter.
Oh, because it's basically dairy.
It's dairy. It's basically dairy. This is for people who wanted a smoother, creamier cup of coffee, but I don't know. They're into the whole animal fats thing. I tried it. It mellowed out the acidity, sure, but you still were drinking.
Yeah.
I guess the same principle works for mayonnaise, because you're pretty much just putting oil. Yeah. It is basically oil. It's oil and egg yolks is mayonnaise. That's an aioli. You never made an aioli, have you, Chase?
I'll bite. What's an aioli?
It's like a
mayonnaise.
Spread.
Mayonnaise is an aioli.
It's a fancy spread. It's a fancy
mayonnaise is in fact one of the mother sauces, despite its ubiquitous consumption in the United States. It's one of the French mother sauces.
Mother sauce.
Google it. These are baseline sauces in French culinary tradition from which you can build off other sauces.
Bob's getting fancy again.
It's not like a sauce made out of your mother or one that you put on your mother. Just to clarify, when I say mother sauce, I didn't need to clarify that. Okay, moving on.
I wouldn't.
Okay,
that was a deal breaker for me, by the way.
Mayonnaise is just an emulsion. It is combining the protein in an egg yolk with oil, and you whip them up, and that's how you make mayonnaise. That's it. When you buy it in the store, it will have other chemicals and stabilizers to keep it, so you can keep it in your fridge for longer than an aioli or any other similar concoction will last. But it's basically the same thing.
I'm just not a sauce
Mayo's good.
guy.
I like mayo. I like mayo.
Mayo's a nasty condiment, and it was one of those where it's a date deal.
It's a mother sauce. We've just discussed this.
I understand the mother sauce aspect to this, but I was just always out. Like, there's nothing more disgusting than seeing someone else dip something in mayonnaise, eat something with mayonnaise. There's just, it's a very, very...
It plays a role in one of, I think, the funnier jokes in Freud's wit and its relation to the unconscious, which I'm sure he puts in a lot of jokes. Yeah, Freud wrote this book when he was heavily self-medicating with cocaine. So some of the jokes don't land as well as I'm sure they did. I'm like
most of us do.
As they did to Freud when he was writing them. But one of the jokes under the categories of absurdist humor is a man goes to a fancy dinner party and he sees a small dish, and he sits down at the table and he sees a small dish of mayonnaise set beside each plate. And so he immediately reaches his hands in and starts rubbing it through his hair. And the host, who is appalled, says, "Sir, what are you doing? That's mayonnaise." And the man says, "Mayonnaise? I thought it was spinach." Again, he was doing a lot of cocaine that he was prescribing to himself.
Bob, I love you. Bob, I love you.
These are Freud's jokes, not mine.
That was an absolutely, it's so bad that you just have to chuckle at the effort that you put into it.
Sure.
Someday when you went to, Bob? Have you been to a comedy show recently in New York?
Comedy show? I went to see Ali Wong in New York last year.
Oh, cool.
Oh, is she good?
Yeah.
Did you go see Chris Redd? I heard he has one heck of a comedy show.
I did not.
Chris Redd, former SNL.
Yeah.
I don't know who that is.
Don't know if you. Oh, don't know. No. Chase, of course, because he's black. Got him. Thank you.
Did you like that one, Max? What did you think of that?
That was the All-Star game. Throw it off the backboard and then dunk it. Thank you.
Right.
Thank you.
I'm just not going to say anything else for the rest of the pod.
I believe Chris Redd was about to do a set or just finished a set at a nightclub in New York City.
Yeah.
And somebody sucker punched him. It was just oh my gosh.
He got seriously, he got laid out.
Yeah. So I was assuming Bob was there.
No, I was not. I missed. I was not.
Okay, so he has an alibi.
The best.
He looks familiar. I've just never. I didn't know he was on
SNL.
Saturday Night Live.
Yeah. You've probably seen him in the NBA on TNT bits that they did from time to time.
The best stand-up set I ever saw was many years ago. I saw Bob Goldthwait do stand-up comedy. This was great.
He's funny. He's good. I just feel like there isn't a lot of good news specials to check out as of late. I feel like a lot of it's still not back to normal, or I don't know if everything was cut off from the pandemic and we're still just kind of have a backlog of a lot of cool venues and a lot of cool shows.
Well, a lot of comedians are saying that comedy isn't funny now because everybody's soft. And
there's a very interesting feature on in the New Yorker. Freud and the New Yorker in one podcast.
You're getting quite pretentious there, Rob.
Hold on, just to be clear, Bob's wearing a beanie indoors in New York City, so he's
there's a Ben Shahn drawing on the wall here. If you really want me to bring it home,
Max, come get your man in
your man's.
Yeah, come get your man's.
On what's his name? The SNL comedian who got canceled.
Which one?
The one who got
Bill Murray this past week.
Is it Jim Brewer?
The one,
Chevy Chase.
One, I forget his own name. All of a sudden, the one who was hired, and then they dug up
because he was making fun of Bo and Yang, or he was making fun of Asians.
He was just making racist anti-Asian. He was doing a racist Asian voice, and he got what's his name?
I do remember what you're talking about. I know who you're talking
about. Jinx. But yeah, because he lasted. It was like, hey,
he didn't even get on the show.
Yeah, like they announced him, and then like a week later, it was like
Shane Gillis, ladies and gentlemen, is the answer we're looking for.
Is he on Parler now? Because
no. There's a fairly nuanced article on him in the New Yorker about what he's doing now, and the fact that the jokes were just awful and like straight up racist gets a kind of the kid gloves treatment, but it's an interesting article. I'm not a huge stand-up comedy fan. I've never particularly enjoyed. I don't seek out stand-up comedy and think that's the thing I want to do or want to watch. I don't. It is very hard for me to find a stand-up comic really, really, really funny.
I will say, one of my favorite.
Johansson is a comic who I thought was hilariously funny, but nobody remembers. He was a '90s comic.
Who?
His name is Jake Johansson. He never got a TV show or anything like that.
Because either they get a TV, either like '90s comics got a TV show, or they were featured on something with MTV, or they just kind of faded into obscurity and
I'm sure he's still
direct to DVD sequels of popular movies.
Jake, if you're out there and you're listening to the pod,
we love you.
I enjoyed your work.
I will say
I'm not a stand-up comedy aficionado, so I can't tell. Like Ali Wong was. Here's the thing. I can recognize that a joke is funny, but it takes a lot for me to actually reach the point of where I will laugh out loud at stand-up comedy, even if I can intellectually say, okay, that is a funny joke. I get why. And when I'm in a room with people who are laughing, my natural inclination is not to laugh. I don't like laughing when there are lots and lots of other people laughing.
Interesting.
I mean, you can ask
Silverman.
You can ask my therapist why that is, and my therapist probably has some good theories, but it is really like, for example,
It also makes you going to school, the kind of school you did in France, all that more interesting. There's so many layers to this.
Yeah. Oh man, I told you about the toughest clown exercise there is, the Ring of Fire, didn't I? I'll try to tell it. I'll try to tell it very briefly. When we get to clowning in the second semester of the second year at my fancy theater school. Okay, here's the first clowning exercise. Everybody your entire class is seated on the floor in the studio against the back wall.
Mm-hmm.
It's about 35 people. You leave the studio. You come in, you put on your nose outside, you come in, you walk center stage. Your goal is to make every single person in the room burst out in gut-busting, backslapping, doubled-over laughter. That is what you want to do. The problem is you are not allowed to do anything to make them laugh. You cannot tell a joke. You cannot pull a pratfall. You cannot make funny faces. You cannot consciously do anything to make them laugh. But you have to make them laugh. You cannot do that. If your goal is, you cannot do anything, and it's immediately clear when someone consciously is trying to do something to make people laugh.
And of course, just show up to class wearing an Alf
t-shirt. No. We all have to wear the exact same clothes to class every single day. Everyone wears a black top and black pants. That's it. You cannot wear anything else. You cannot bring props. That is an active act. You cannot do that. Now, if you try to do something to make people laugh, you have to leave the room, come back in, and start all over again. And the exercise isn't over until every single person in the room is laughing. So it takes as long as it takes.
Who's your teacher? Herb Brooks? Again.
No.
Again.
Yes.
I thought you were going to go Barry season 4 over here. Like, this is some Barry stuff right here.
very dark Norwegian man named Jos Huben. But
Well, tell
in
Heben that he needs
Jos
to go Cuban
Huben,
himself.
all right, this is a time old technique. Any case, so what happens is you stand there in the center of the room. You get sent out a couple times because everyone can see you trying to do something to make people laugh. You send out, you come back, you send out, you come back. And you just have to stand there in the center of the room and fail. You have to feel like death, like you wish the earth would open up underneath you because there are a sea of 30 faces staring at you, stone faced, not laughing, looking bored and or angry at you. And
so Notre Dame's offense.
Yeah. And so and only when you've reached the absolute pit of despair and just have to sit in that awfulness, then everyone bursts out laughing. Because that's really
so it's
fun.
Russell Westbrook. Oh,
yeah.
You went from Notre Dame to Russell Westbrook. I understand that. Thank you.
But the thing is, no two people fail in the exact same way. So you cannot copy the way someone else appeared to go through into the pit of despair. You just have to really experience it and feel like human trash, and then people laugh.
Oh man, that's
one of the first exercises in Clune School. Yeah,
that's AHAM 2012 right there.
Yeah. It gets a little dark. So yeah, a room, but irrespective of that, I don't like being in comedy shows because I don't like it when audience members are laughing around me. Being on stage and having other people laugh, that's a totally different thing. That I like a lot. That's fun for me. I'm not laughing. But being that part of the audience is laughing is something else. In any case, there's a little behind the curtains how the sausage is made at Snooty French Clown School.
I like it. Okay. I will say, I mean, I very much love stand-up comedy and going to shows, and back in Atlanta I went a lot to open mic nights and watch folks, and just went to a lot of different shows anyway. I remember seeing Sebastian Maniscalco before he was big, and just that was one of those snooty chases on the inside track here where I saw him. I'm like, oh, that's like the new Jerry Seinfeld. I remember
I knew that guy when. I knew him before he was big. Got it.
Yes. And I remember walking out with...
I have all of Tito Puente's albums.
Well, I will say, one of my favorite nights of my adult life was in LA about 6 years ago, I guess now, maybe 7. And it was at the Comedy Store in LA. And I went and saw... Andrew, what?
I knew you were going to say the Comedy Store.
Yes. And I, the funny thing about the Comedy Store and pulling up, I remember we didn't know where to park. And we're pulling up, and you pick the wrong side street in LA, and you never know what you're going to pull up on. And we pulled up on the side street, and there's just 2 dudes doing coke, like just in the alleyway. And we're like, probably shouldn't park here. So back up. Let's just find another spot.
It's really hard. How do you do coke in an alleyway? It's like more of a... Are they just doing bumps off of doing key bumps? Oh, okay.
Yes, they're doing And we pull out and we're like, yeah, this is probably not going to work. And we go in, and I wanted to go because I had this circled. It was Bill Burr, it was Norm Macdonald, and David Spade, and what's his name? Dana Carvey.
Shane Gillis.
Dana Carvey. And
that's a good.
It was good, and Bill Burr wasn't announced. So I was just going for Norm because I was just such a big Norm guy. And he was fantastic in person. I'm glad I was able to see him before he passed a couple years later. But I was amazed that David Spade was the headliner of that group. I thought that was strange, but he's fine. He's funny in his own right. But Bill Burr, getting to see him go back and forth with someone in the crowd is one of the more unbelievable human interactions a person can see. Is a comedian going one-on-one with an audience member in real time. There is not anything like it where you don't know where it's going, and you're just so amazed by the back and forth and what they're saying, and it feels like you're at a boxing match where you're like, what is happening in this public setting, in this public forum?
when they're
And
going back and forth with the
yes,
comedian.
and you're like, this is getting meaner and meaner. Why is this woman doing this? And it's just getting worse. I didn't understand why, because I remember, started it by blurting something out to him in one of his jokes. And Bill Burr's in the top 5 of comics I would never want to heckle, especially when he has been doing this for a very long time. Like, just, you really don't want that in your life. And I remember the whole crowd just gasped when she said something, because everyone kind of knew this is not going to go well for you. And I remember she got up crying, and like, I think I don't know if she left, but it was like a weird back and forth, and it was rough. And it was just weird because she said something, but I always thought after that, and even just in general for folks who go to events, whether it's a play and they're on their iPad during it, or you go to a Broadway show, or you go to a comedy show in a bad mood, or you go to a comedy show looking to get mad. I've never understood that, where it's like that person, I just wondered, why were you there? Because I don't think she was on a date. I think she was, why would you go and like with the attitude of like, you're not funny and you're like, this is not like, what? I don't understand what you thought this was going to be. And then to get involved with the show, just, I don't understand the psychosis involved in that kind of behavior.
Okay, think about it though.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how many people do you see a day have main character syndrome on Twitter? Sure. How many times a day?
That's like in your private house. That's like you just on. I could like, it's not in real life. I think it's different in real life.
It's this. Look, imagine that. Just think about the feelings that you felt watching this woman suddenly get roasted.
Yeah.
When you're at the center of that, yeah, it's painful and kind of humiliating, but you're very alive. I mean, it's a profound sensation. Not to say she's a masochist or anything like that, because I don't know this woman at all.
She might be.
She might be, but it is a huge rush to suddenly realize that you, for that 1 second, are the most important person in that room. For a room full of strangers, you are the most important person in the world for those X number of minutes that she got roasted. And that can be fun. Yeah. That can be very fun.
There was a moment where you kind of get that in press conferences sometimes when you're talking to a coach and the question you have may be either like any journalist or any sports writer that says that they've never asked a bad question in a press conference is lying. Because the coach may not go off, but they may be kind of sarcastic. And I remember I was asking a coach, basically, I was asking this coach that they've come up short so many times. What is it going to take to finish? And he gave me this look. And if it was at a P5 program, but if it was at a P5 program nobody cares about. So if it was at a P5 program that people cared about, it would have been one of those where it's like, oh, he's mad at X reporter, but nobody gave a crap. But yeah, for like that 30-second back and forth that we had, it was like, okay, this could get a little awkward. But at the same time, you're like, I asked the question. People are paying attention.
I asked the first time I asked a question where I knew that it would actually be captured on camera is I went to the press conference, the NBA press conference for a story when they announced that Donald Sterling was being banned for life. And I got called on by Commissioner Silver, and I said, I don't even remember what I said. But for someone who has a history of being in the performing arts, that was more stage fright than I ever experienced in my entire life. And I got up and I'm there. I'm like, I realized oh, I'm on ESPN right now asking this question. Oh, I don't have any lines. I just have to talk and not sound like an idiot. And I think I asked something. I was like, you're banning this person for life, but I think I said something like, but he only maintains a certain percentage owner. He doesn't maintain a full controlling ownership of the Clippers. If your point is to force the team to be sold, is the rest of the Sterling family going to be forced to comply or something like that? I worded it badly, but I was trying to say, like, are you going to force Shelley Sterling to sell the team? Mm-hmm. And he sort of dodged the question, I think. I don't know. I have no idea what his answer was, but I wasn't, going into a stand-up comedy show with a bad attitude, hoping to get a few tongue lashings from Bill Burr, but it was just that being for 1 second the center of the basketball world was. I went into a fugue state. Is how I would describe it. It was terrifying.
Do you remember Tom Haberstroh in the back and forth from like the finals in like 2010, 2011, or it was during the Miami LeBron years? And that reporter who asked really, really crazy questions, and Tom just kept doing that. And he went viral because Tom just kept getting cut off by the reporter.
Oh,
who kept
yeah. I know.
Yeah. That was an all-time moment. I miss those days. It was great.
I miss the I miss the aspect of a press conference, and they don't do much of those anymore. But when somebody asks a question, whether it be the finals or a game, and they actually show the reporter, and because they do it with the White House briefings, and you see everybody's reaction. There was one time, I forgot who it was. Dude who runs Black Sports Online. We won't talk about him, but he was asking a question. Yeah. But he was asking a question. It was during one of the finals. I want to say it was either 2013, 2014, something like that. And he's asking this question, and it's a very Captain Obvious question. And because let's peel back the curtain a bit. There are some people who go to press conferences who should not ask questions. He is chief among them. And so he's asking this question, and I want to say it was either Spo or Pop. And I think it was Spo, because that's when I realized, Spo, even in a win, Spo can get a little pissy, and he's just kind of like, why are you asking me this question?
I know.
It's like you can figure this out. People around him are just like, really? This is what
the shots of the reporters rolling their eyes at a question during the press conference are often delightful. Have they stopped? I mean, granted, I'm not covering basketball enough now that I need to watch a press conference on NBA TV or something like that. But do they still do that? I feel like during COVID, they sort of, but those used to be the televised pressers with shots of the reporters used to be a regular feature, and I feel like they went away.
They did it. So they actually did it during COVID, during the finals, but they did it with the reporters that were there, but they were all staggered, and it was kind of it was actually kind of funny to see like this zigzag row of like the only 7 to 9 reporters that were actually allowed to be on or in the arena. But yeah, I think they still did it. I think this past finals they actually kind of brought back the post-game video. They didn't show it as much, but I know that they did, which I kind of miss. I'm with you.
Yeah, those are fun. I like those. You never know what would happen.
It's good
unscripted comedy. Yeah.
The LeBron basically saying, y'all, at the end of the day, y'all broke. After was it after they lost the finals to Dallas?
Yep.
Yeah. That was an all-timer, because I'm just like, wait a minute. Did he just basically just call the rest of us broke?
Granted, it wasn't a big, and like it was just a Warriors game, but KD going in on Sherwood Strauss, that was a classic press conference moment.
Was that pre-Warriors or post-Warriors?
No, that was with the Warriors.
Was that pre-Warriors?
That was during,
okay.
That was during the Warriors, because Strauss was working he was with ESPN, but he was in Oakland covering.
This is before the book, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, before the book. He was the Warriors. He was their Warriors beat guy.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
Man, well, this naturally leads us to Adam Silver, who immediately walked back the tanking relegation idea, where Bob,
Howard.
it's not, but like it's not him. Like this is the whole thing. There is like that optic of Adam Silver runs the NBA. Roger Goodell runs the NFL as commissioner, and commissioners don't do that. And there's this idea that, well, if Adam Silver wants this, then that's going to be what happened. And it's like, well, no, it's the owners, the
Adam Silver doesn't, and Adam Silver doesn't want it either. I mean,
yeah, I don't know.
You cannot
be a big Premier League guy and soccer
okay,
guy.
So what's going to happen? You're gonna send the Sacramento Kings to the G League and bring up the Sioux Falls Sky Horse one year? Is that what we're going to do? Like the NBA, how do you renegotiate television contracts in that case? There's way too much money tied up in the cities where they're in for this to happen. He doesn't want it to happen. He would like teams not to tank because people tend not to buy tickets to see teams that are designed to lose. And people tend not to watch games of teams that are designed to be bad. So obviously he would prefer it if everyone tried their very best. But the financial structure of pro basketball does not work the same way as soccer, where you have the kind of, where you're in European soccer or the Premier League, you have the kind of municipalities where if you swap out, I don't know soccer, so, Tungsten on Huntley for South Watfordshire, it's actually not that big a deal in terms of the dollars and cents. So you can do it there. Okay, great. Now that's a Ted Lasso plot. Like, I only know about the Premier League because it's a Ted Lasso plot line. But sorry, Adam Silver does not want that. He's making content, man. That's all he's doing. Like this call about like the news that leaked today about the NBA owners really wanting a salary cap. I'm sure they would like a salary cap in the NBA, but it's not going to actually.
Wait, what do you mean? They have a salary cap? Do you mean like a hard cap?
No, hard cap.
Yeah.
Get rid of the luxury tax and install a hard cap.
But they won't call it a hard cap.
Right, but whatever. But they can't. Then they'd have to get concessions from the players in the next collective bargaining agreement.
You mean the collection? You mean today they just pretty much put the first stake in the ground on why there's going to be a strike in a few years? They're not gonna like they bring it up every time the CBA is a couple of years from running out. They have brought it up. Those owners would like a hard spending limit. It would save them some money. But
every ownership group would prefer a hard cap, I think, all across the board.
They would. It would not affect my belief is one, it really wouldn't affect players' salaries that much because the NBA players are earning 51% or 50 or 51, I forget which it is, of basketball related income right now, unless you're renegotiating that too. So good luck with that. So it wouldn't really affect the actual salaries that much. It's going to save them a few bucks on one end. But it's not going to happen. It's literally, you go do some Googling, kids. Set the search before 2016. Set it before 2012. Go back to the 2010s. You'll find that they would like to institute a hard cap. It's not happening. Don't worry.
No.
There will be no hard cap.
Because once you get there, it's just impossible to go back. Like you're seeing that with NFL contract. Like once you go down that road, man, it's.
I also think I just want to also go back in time to 2008 me and say, by the way, the NBA owners are complaining about wanting a hard salary cap again, and they're worried about the exorbitant cash and luxury tax payments being handed out by the Clippers, the Warriors, and the Nets. And see how 2008, 2009 me would react to that.
Can I go back to 2012 and just sit at the owners meeting, sit outside, when they all had the pizza and all of that. Can I just sit outside the meeting, just legs crossed like a little 4-year-old and go, hey guys, owners, I know you guys don't want to spend this much money, but you guys are going to spend a lot of money. So basically everything that you're saying right now, you're basically going to be a hypocrite in like 4 years. So congratulations.
Yeah, it's going to be nonsense. Yeah. Oh, and at least two of you are going to be running organization staff with sex pests, and there's a couple of racists here and there, but we'll you guys will figure that out soon enough.
All of you people are terrible. Oh, Mark Cuban.
Yeah.
Don't complain. Don't complain.
That was one of the more honest statements Cuban has ever given. Is in 2000. Again, this was 2014, right when Donald Sterling, when they were figuring out what to do about the bad man who got caught on tape. Is Cuban said, I think we should be wary about punishing him because it's a slippery slope. And I was like,
yes,
that's right. Yeah. That's a little bit of the point. You guys are all like, my personal point of view is that you cannot be a billionaire without doing some incredibly sketchy stuff. It is impossible. If you have that much money, even if you just inherited it, you are complicit in some, at bare minimum, complicit in some very, 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 very nose-turning behavior. So yeah, Cuban does not want. These guys don't want to like police each other. They don't want to kick each other out of the league, no matter what horrible things they do.
I don't know, man. Jim Irsay, he's basically like, look, y'all know my dirt.
It's the same reason, right? Which is why that no one wants, like most of the NFL owners, no matter how much they think that Dan Snyder is might think, allegedly, that Dan Snyder is a nincompoop and bad for football. They don't want to kick him out. They don't want the legal hassles of kicking him out. And they certainly don't want more attention put on any of them now that one of their own has been given the door.
But he basically, I love how Jim Irsay basically said, look, you know, it's that line without the finishing product of, what are you going to do? Stab me? He basically just said that to all the owners. And I'm like, you know what? Jim made some points. Also,
strong take. Got to respect it. Got to respect it.
Also, take. Yeah, there's no way that the NFL is going to tell Daniel Snyder to give up the ghost. And plus, I don't think they're afraid that he's got blackmail on them. I don't think that's why. I think they just. I think some owners could be afraid because, I mean, honestly, Dan Snyder could basically just say, "Hey,
what are you going to threaten Jerry Jones with? Really, what? What could you possibly?
Yeah. There's.
You might as well try to win a drinking contest against Jerry Jones. You cannot.
There's like a 25% of the owners that don't care. There's 25% of the owners that are like, fine, go ahead. Then you've probably got like 15% that are just like, oh boy, oh geez, oh God, oh no. Let me get my PR cycle. And then the rest of them are just like, so what city can I hold hostage to give me a new stadium?
Yeah, Dan Snyder, I think it'll be made clear to Dan Snyder that I'm sure there'll be some shenanigans where they'll figure out a nice way for him to sell on his own, but they're not going to actually vote to get him out of the NFL. Like in the same way, it was made clear to Robert Irsay that it was time for him to go now, but they're not.
Oh, you mean Jim Irsay?
No, Robert Sarver. That was time for him to go.
I was like Robert Irsay. Yeah, Robert Irsay just moved the team. You know, in the middle of the night.
Wrong Irsay. But yeah, like Snyder might actually get out of the paint, but they're not going to vote to get rid of him. It was a very unique circumstance that got rid of Donald Sterling, and it really was just one of which was, of course, the tape.
Succession season 4, getting Daniel Snyder out of the NFL.
Yeah.
Logan Roy buys the Washington Commanders.
Oh God! Just put field turf on that field. Just God.
Can I make one point about Succession that I really like? One thing that this was just a me thing. Mm-hmm. The one thing about, have you finished it yet, Chase? I don't want to spoiler alert you.
Yeah.
Okay. You know this, Chase, and everyone out there in podcast land. You know the scenes where Brian Cox and Jeremy Strong are going to the rich investor who has his own island, played by Adrian Brody, to try to suck up, to make sure they got his vote. But for that guy dresses like he had his assistant pick out the best things from a Land's End catalog for him to wear so he doesn't look like a pretentious rich guy.
It looks like Shia LaBeouf and Disturbia.
Yeah, there you go. So when some friends and I had a theater company, and we would go and we met a couple of very wealthy people to try to get money from them. And they took us out to some very nice dinners, not on their own island, but we did get taken out to, one time we got taken to a full like tasting menu at Nobu. Which was probably was a $5,000 meal. And that was in mid 2000s dollars.
I've eaten there by the way once.
Yeah, it's right
with family.
It's very good.
I didn't know it was a big deal when we went when I was young. I did not know that was like a big deal to go to Nobu.
It is. It was more of a big deal then, but it's still a big deal. In any case, we got taken to some nice dinners by some very wealthy people who they did pick up the check, which was nice of them for us starving artists. But they were exactly like that Adrian Brody guy, wearing clothes that were very expensive, but intended to make them not seem like they had a net worth that was at least between 9 and 10 figures.
I'm a normal guy.
Yeah, I'm a normal guy. I'm just like you, man. And the same kind of coy affability, but mixed with no small, like they know how much power they have over you, and they're just going to realize that you are there literally singing for your supper and begging them, please, sir, can I have some tape? Please, my wet, please. And you're begging them to just grab a couple of coins out of their sofa and give it to us, is the equivalent of the amount of money we were asking for. I think we're doing a show with a budget that probably cost about as much as again, the clothes on his back. And my point being, Adrian Brody's portrayal of that kind of rich person, 10 out of 10, no notes, spot on. I was watching that and I was going, I know that guy. Oh, I hate that guy. Oh, do I know I hate that guy? Because they picked up the tab for the meal, but didn't give us any money. And all I could think was, wow, that was a great meal. But boy, that $5,000 actually could have helped made the play happen. So that didn't really help us at all, you bastard.
Oh, man.
I'm not mad. I'm not still mad about it. I'm not mad.
We won't tell the internet that you got mad.
Please don't put it in the newspaper that I got mad.
The Knicks are good though, 3-1.
Knicks 3-1. Jalen Brunson, he's playing really well. He's fun to watch. I like Jalen Brunson.
The Knicks are good. I think they.
No. They're 5.
Well, what's wrong with RJ Barrett? Why does he stink now? What happened to RJ?
He's always had a little bit of a Kobe brain.
Mm.
They gotta work the Kobe brain out of his head. His future, like RJ Barrett's path to success is not, and it's not just because he's Canadian, dissimilar to Andrew Wiggins.
Mm.
He could be a very solid multi-position defender and capable of getting buckets, but he's not going to be the primary ball handler and scorer for a winning team. So he's got to get that part of him that thinks that he is.
Can he be Chris Middleton?
His jump shot isn't that good. No, it's weird because
it's more of a Cam Reddish type deal.
No. The best parts of his game are kind of Jimmy Butler-y, but he's not nearly as good as Jimmy Butler. And he doesn't have the body control as Jimmy Butler, doesn't have the strength of Jimmy Butler. And, Jimmy Butler's been working on this now for 10 years more than RJ Barrett, so he's a little more advanced. But that's sort of the trajectory, and the jump shot is probably never going to be good enough so that he could be Chris Middleton, but it's Andrew Wiggins is the mold that he should follow, and he's still trying to. He's leading the team in shots right now, and Brunson is a better one-on-one creator, and honestly, so is Randall. Even after the terrible year he had, he needs to move a couple of slots down the pecking order, and he'll do better. His defense has been genuinely not good the first 4 games. It's a little weird. It's affecting his defense too.
I don't enjoy playing the Pistons, Andrew. Trey went off yesterday. We play you again. I don't know why. That's a back-to-back situation.
We you don't play. I mean, yeah, they. I don't claim them, but
No.
I know.
Yeah, Detroit.
I don't.
The team
yeah,
that you cover.
Yeah.
Is tonight teal night? Are they wearing the teal uniforms tonight?
Got the floor too.
Bob's gonna hate it. Bob hates the Pistons teal.
Yeah. I don't hate it. I just don't know why everyone.
They're good.
All you
actually,
I just don't know why you millennials are so obsessed with those teal uniforms.
Because
you saw them when you were babies. That's why.
Because here's the thing about '90s uniforms. I said it last week, and I'll say it again. The reason why people want to bring that stuff back is because you got this corporate, just absolutely depressed, no creativity. I'm a joyless adult. I design things, jerseys that have the lead.
I know. Here's the thing about creativity.
Minimalism.
Here's the thing about
Bob.
Hold on, minimalism is not bad. That's the best kind of jersey. Is the minimalist jersey like the Jets, the Giants, the Falcons, red helmets with the black jerseys. Like so many uniforms. Tennessee, the power tee, orange and white.
No. There's things that work. I'm talking about we're gonna do a cool redesign of a logo.
Okay.
That's the thing that I'm just kind of like, oh. So okay,
like whatever the Jazz are right now, which is just
thank you. Like, what is that? Be creative. Like you don't.
It's jarring watching the highlights.
Is there? I'd like to recommend a site for you for all you Jersey aficionados. There's an NBA. There's a Tumblr. I went to Tumblr, man.
Oh, David Stern is a frog.
No,
that's a great Tumblr. I don't know if it still exists, but
it is a Tumblr with every NBA jersey ever worn by every team, even the Christmas jerseys and the one-off.
I've seen that,
and it has the Pantone color listed on it, so you can tell when the Knicks slightly changed the color blue between 1990 and 1991, and then again between 2011 and 2012, and that's an important thing for me to know. That's a fun. I will go on there and just go, I'm going to look at the Chicago Bulls uniforms through the years. That's fun for me. That's a good afternoon.
Yep.
We'll put the link in the comments.
I also go to Gridiron Uniform Database.
The Gridiron Uniform Database. The helmet uniform database is also quite good because it'll often show the uniform and it shows like when they wear them as a throwback. The Gridiron Uniform Database is pretty good. And it really is fairly comprehensive. I will give them credit. The NHL, the hockey uniform database is also very good for that.
This is real nerd-ish, right?
Yeah. If you want to look at, and if you're into soccer kits, the site nasljerseys.com not only lists the jersey, but it will make sure that they show actual game-worn examples like the kinds that are available in auction and stuff like that, so you can take a look at them and not just from grainy Getty photos of what jerseys they wore. Fun, like things that I didn't know until like 2 days ago. The Knicks changed their color blue a few times over the last recent years, and the color orange.
You didn't notice that?
I did. I mean, I sort of got that they had moved to a lighter and color blue and less of a deep royal blue, but I like now that I have the Pantone.
But they didn't change the floor, which I always thought was so. For a while, they didn't change the floor, but then they did change the floor.
Yeah.
Like it was a very James Dolan thing, where it was
people like the blue floor. The blue paint is synonymous, and they had an orange paint for a while, and it was just very ugly. Yeah. It was bad. It was bad. The blue paint is back. Very nice. Nice. I like that. I'm telling you, changing I truly believe, one, it's, if you ever said to me, Bob, you have to do a TED Talk in 5 minutes, the history of the Knicks uniforms is something I could absolutely expound on for a good half an hour with no notes and no preparation. But I believe that I should be allowed to redesign the uniforms of at least 2/3 of the teams in the league, and that I would do a better job, just me, with some Crayolas and some paper. maybe some fancy colored markers and not crayon, but I feel like I could still do an excellent job.
Andrew, what's your pick of the week?
Pick of the week is, oh God, I don't know. Watch some World Series. If you do not like sports during this time of year, go get a hobby. But if you like sports, you can't sit here and say, "Oh, there's nothing on." Either that or your team sucks. I don't know.
Or you could have another take. Here's the Galaxy Brain take. There's too many sports, which is something I feel around this time
That's possible.
every year.
That's certainly
Too many
possible.
sports. Too much going on.
You could watch hockey right now if you want. If you were so.
I mean, I have the Preds recording. The Hawks play tonight. I have two things I need to watch. The World Series is tonight. There's the Vols tomorrow. All kinds of big college football games. The Falcons are back on Sunday. NFL is on Thursday.
Imagine being in a city where all four sports happen, and then you have a bustling college scene.
Yeah, I don't
want to have some fun.
There's a lot of stuff to watch on TV. It's true, and there are only so many hours in a day.
Bob, what's your pick of the week?
My pick of the week is cable television because I recently finally did go full cord cut. I cut the cord.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
I did it, and I signed up to the one streaming platform that has the Knicks and the Mets, so I've got that, and I figured I'd be good. I figured that would make me happy. No, they don't carry the Knicks and the Mets.
Wow.
I had to go Fubo.
Oh, okay,
Fubo.
that works.
Not a sponsor.
Yeah. Fubo, not a sponsor. I had to go Fubo, and they're fine as far as streaming platforms go. This is not a paid spot. But
I think that's worth a paid spot. They're fine.
You can't channel surf in the way you can with cable. It is very like if I want to switch from one thing to another, there's a good at least 15-second lag.
Oh, and yeah.
The entire point of cable TV to me, or television to me, really, is that it is not a choice. It is something that you let wash over you. So that if you're flipping dials and you say, oh, well, the core is on, I'll watch the last 15 minutes of the core. I would never choose to watch the core. That would be a ridiculous thing to do. I would never choose to say, like, oh, look, they're showing the scene, the chase scene under the Lower Wacker Drive in Chicago in The Dark Knight. I've seen that many times. I have no need to see that again. But if it's on and I'm flipping dials, I'll say, okay, I'll watch the underground chase scene in The Dark Knight. Now you have to choose to watch that, and that is a kind of depressing and upsetting thing in which you think, oh, I'm choosing to do this. And you have to stay with it for a while because you can't just flip back and forth and watch 2 minutes of this and 2 minutes of this and 2 minutes of this, and let the entire experience turn you into a non-thinking ball of goo. That, to me, is the point of watching television, is that you just sort of sink into the couch and you can unplug your brain. If you actually have to make the conscious choice to participate in this crappy entertainment, that's not fun for me anymore. Now, I'm also cheap, so I'm not going to pony back up for cable. But I'm probably going to end up watching less television. I'm not going to choose to watch Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives for the billionth time again. At this point, I can tell you what year an episode is from if they play a couple of minutes, because I am attuned to the vagaries of Guy Fieri's like weight and hairstyle. But that's not a choice. That is something that happened to me. I miss the passive experience of television. It's actually, I'm not kidding. It's really kind of troubling. So my pick of the week is cable. It's too expensive and it sucks.
But you also miss it.
I miss it a lot. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to lie. I miss being able to watch it. Like, I can't watch the Knicks game and then flip to something else for the 2 minutes that it's a commercial and then come back and then rewind it a little. It just doesn't work.
Mm-hmm.
It's very upsetting to me. I'm being 100%
really.
I'm really upset. This was the thing that for, decades of my life, I grew to enjoy. Passive cable TV sloth. And now that's gone.
Rough. Well, there you go.
And on that note,
anything to plug, gentlemen?
no, we're just here to talk, man. We're not about plugging.
Okay, no plugs from Bob. Andrew, anything you like to plug? You wrapped up. I know you had a post about Hail to the Victors today.
Yes, we hit over 10,000 listens. So, and yeah, going to be working on an episode tonight, actually. So, yeah.
Hallelujah.
There you go.
All right.
Okay. Andrew, I was about to combine your names. Andrew Silverman, Bob Hammond.
Bob Hammond and Andrew Silverman.
Yes. Thank you as always, gentlemen. You have yourself a great weekend, and I will talk to y'all next week.